And this, of course, is music sent to us by the publishing company. I never heard of a book that had a kind of a trailer with it before, Chuck.
I've never even heard that exists.
Yeah.
What is this?
Play a little bit of it. This is something that got sent over, little music that is, I guess, part of what's happening with the book right now. You've never heard it before?
No, but what you need to be playing is the Brad Pitt song that he recorded using parts of the book Fight Club. Because every time you play that song, I get a royalty.
Oh, is that right?
So you could play that song as much as you want.
Well, we ought to start and play it every day for you then. Hey, what a great day to have you in, because we can look down on Times Square that is completely empty right now because there's a Project Mayhem going on down in Times Square.
Are you kidding?
So
What?
Somebody found a cooler or a box, and they've shut down Times Square. So it has a very vanilla sky. I don't know whether you saw that movie where Tom Cruise ran through it all by himself.
I'm thinking what was it, On the Beach?
Yeah.
The Australian movie where they come out at the end and all the streets are completely empty.
Yeah.
I bet it's Gwyneth Paltrow's head is in that box.
Oh, I hope not.
It's always Gwyneth Paltrow's head.
I hope not. What's in the box? What's in the box?
Tell me!
I actually, there's something, that whole era, and of course he went on and did Fight Club when it first came out. He was really peaking there in just terms of just a good-looking guy who decided, no, I'm going to go in the opposite direction and just get as strange as possible.
But there were a couple movies in there that were all very, very soft-focused, Harlequin romance. Pretty.
Yeah, that was were right before, right?
Yeah.
He did the Pretty Boy movies.
Meet Joe Black. 7 Years in Tibet.
7 years in Tibet. Then he also had one where it was based off a really good book, too. Something that took place in Montana.
River Runs Through It.
River Runs Through It.
And then there was the other one with the horses.
Oh, yeah, where he was the prettiest of all three brothers. There was
He was prettier than the female lead.
Yeah. Where men were just leaving going, I'm going to go back and see that again. I'm going to see that one more time.
Okay, it turned me.
So yeah, I'm really glad that we got Project Mayhem underneath of us today, because it's perfect to be sitting here with you. And this view is actually out of our window. If you go over and look at out the window here, it's everything that you wrote about. It's all your writings coming true.
So this is possibly the world's first igloo cooler nuclear device.
We're even thinking that, or it's a construction guy's lunch. We're not sure which direction we're going in. But nobody is, once the terror feeling comes back, then it stays back for a while.
I know, just in case it is the nuclear device, everyone out there that I love you, okay?
Yeah.
Because we are really close to it.
We are about, I'd say, 200 yards from where it is right now. And the good part is we're 36 stories up in the air.
Oh, great. That makes it even more safe.
It's even more exciting. So if I can ride this down, I'll be riding it down with Chuck. That's the exciting thing for me. Everybody in my high school would have said, I knew he was going to end up that way. You've got another book out, and is it 11 for you right now? Is that where you are right now in terms of novels that you have out?
Oh, my gosh.
It's getting up there where you're starting to have a nice piece for yourself of any bookstore.
I have more books than toes at this point, so I have no idea how many.
I was wondering how many novels altogether, but you are a guy, you sit down to write all the time, right? You're a constant writer?
Yeah.
Because I was always wondering, does it come as inspiration, or is it something that you got to say, I've got to hammer this thing out?
It comes as inspiration, but usually it's inspiration from somebody else. And 2 years ago, I was almost right here, and Sam Rockwell, we were promoting the Choke movie.
Right.
And Sam was talking about making a Brad Pitt movie about Jesse James, and he stopped himself, and he got very self-conscious, and suddenly he went, would you just listen to me? All I say is blah, 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 Brad Pitt, blah, 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 Brad Pitt. And he goes, it sounds like I have some kind of name-dropping form of Tourette syndrome. And when he said that, it so perfectly expressed that sentiment, that way we have of name-dropping and then self-censoring to avoid sounding like we're name-dropping.
Yeah.
and I just had to do something with that.
Well, particularly is it now because of, even the internet and Twitter, where now people can send their responses to like a celebrity. The celebrity can respond. Or in the way that you wrote the book here, have we always been somewhat celebrity obsessed in this country?
We always have been.
Yeah.
And that's why the book sort of uses the conventions of 1930s, 1940s gossip columns that still look very timely because those bold-faced names kind of look like hyperlinks.
Yeah, that's true.
And, but they've been doing that for 100 years.
Yeah, I remember growing up with whatever would be the gossip column would have the bold face. I'm pretty sure Page 6 still does it on the Post, where you go, oh, okay, that one I don't care. Boom.
Right.
That's the one I care about immediately. But why did you go and set it back here? What was it about that era that worked for you?
The most magical, special aspect of using it in the past is that I can cast the entire thing with dead people, and they cannot sue me. I can make them do anything as characters, and they cannot sue me because they're dead people.
So if you would have set this in the 1960s or 70s, you would have to go out of your way to say, well, that never really took place. Or...
I wouldn't even have a publisher. They wouldn't even touch it. So
the beauty, too, of this is, like you said, all of us, even if we look down on celebrity culture, we're still involved in it. There's no way that you can be an American and not supposedly have an opinion about who somebody should be dating or what if some marriage has fallen apart. We're all involved in it on almost a daily basis.
And on so many different levels, whether it's political or entertainment celebrities or sports celebrities, we're all kind of constantly announcing who we are by the celebrities that we talk about.
Right.
Because they really are the kind of archetypes, the kind of models that we define ourselves against. And when I was growing up, my mother told my sisters, you grow up to be Audrey Hepburn. Don't grow up to be Marilyn Monroe because she's a slut. So we were really raised with these archetypes and these celebrities just to personify them for our generation.
So if you're talking to somebody and they bring up Jessica Simpson instead of Norman Mailer, you could go, oh, I already know this person. I exactly know where their head's at by the celebrities that they follow.
Exactly. I know that I have absolutely nothing in common with them.
Yeah. I brought up Norman Mailer, and at one time we would have so many celebrated authors. Before I lived in New York City and I was a kid, I would always read about Elaine's and how the writers would gather there, and it always seemed somewhat cool to me. But we're down to the point now where you're one of the few left that are novelists that people will start and pay attention to.
And I think that's just about to change because technology seems to kind of drive these. And for a big reason, I think the 80s was a music generation because music videos came out and suddenly made music much more fuller as an experience than it had been before. And so that 80s generation was a music generation. And now we have a generation that expresses itself primarily through the written word, albeit, through texts and tweets and emails. And that this will really shape their early and their ongoing lifetime of self-expression. So I think we're really about to see a huge explosion in novelists, who are right now tweeting.
Now, but because you think that they were going to say, I can't keep expressing myself through these smaller things. I want to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Exactly. And they're in the habit of forming their thoughts, expressing their thoughts through written, structured language. And that's just going to become more and more elaborate as their skills develop.
It's funny, too, because from living here in the city, I go to a lot of restaurants. So I tend to follow, like, Yelp events and stuff like that, and where people are just, like, their own food critics. And now suddenly those people start to get evolving. And we're looking at the same thing with movie critics, where suddenly movie critics are not people hired by newspapers. And according to you, eventually these people's skills will get stronger and stronger until we'll start and follow them into bigger pieces.